Hello and welcome to podcast number 2 of Mind Your Own Retirement. I'm John Deeks and Kaye is the publisher of Your Life Choices website and e-news. Hello, Kaye.
Hi, John.
Nice to see you again.
Yes.
And great response to podcast number 1.
Yeah, look, we were totally thrilled with how many people hit the website, told us they liked it, suggested topics, and told us that they'd shared it with their friends.
And thank you for all those suggestions, but however, I am back again for number 2. Winnie, where's your puppy dog?
Ebony.
Oh, Ebony. Ebony is the puppy dog that we have at the office, at the Your Life Choices office, who we love to death.
And she's my least troublesome daughter.
Oh. How old is she?
She's 6.
6-year-old.
Yeah.
Now, before we get into some of our subjects, which we're going to cover retirement, are we going to do some more travel today as well?
Absolutely, but we've got an expert on the line.
Oh, I love an expert.
Yes, I do too.
And you know lots of experts.
I'm
You're
expert
sort of
central.
You're the gatherer of experts, aren't you?
I see myself as a traffic cop. Calling them in, sending them out, stop there, come on through.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's why Your Life Choices has got 230,000 folks who rely on it. So we'll talk more about that. But have you been out and about? Have you seen Rocket Man? Elton John's life story?
I have.
I have not, so tell me why I should see it or should not.
It's beautiful. The music is phenomenal, but it's a story about someone who was not loved and became loved. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. The chap who plays Elton sings all the songs.
You're kidding.
And
really?
You think, wow, will I like it as much? Trust me, you will. It's got a lot of fantasy. It's got a lot of song and dance numbers. It's sad. It's funny. But ultimately, it's about someone who struggled and found love.
Like the story of Queen.
Yeah.
Again, it was a young man whose father came back from the war.
Yep, exactly.
The Second World War, and kept all of those terrible memories to himself.
Yep.
And because in those days you didn't express your feelings.
Yeah.
There was no outlet for it. It was just like, well, just get on with it. So, of course, the children and everyone else around were very
The whole
much affected.
family suffers, yeah.
Okay, well, look, go see Rocket Man if you haven't, and just say that Kaye sent you.
It won't work.
Now we're going to talk about retirement. Boy, now if this isn't Your Life Choices subject, nothing is. That's about as broad as you could get talking about retirement, Kaye. So how are we going to venture into this land?
Well, we did a survey, as we do, about 10 times a year, and we got nearly 4,000 responses to the question, what is the number 1 retirement postcode in Australia?
The number 1 postcode?
The number 1 postcode.
It'd have to be Queensland.
Wrong.
Oh, gee, I thought it'd be Queensland.
It's a town or a city, so...
A town or a city. Oh, probably down in Victoria. Would it be like Queenscliff?
No.
Oh, dear.
It's not in Victoria, either.
Is it... All right. No. New South Wales.
That's 3 and you're out.
Oh,
goodbye.
Dear. Okay,
Thanks
tell me.
for coming in.
What's the number 1 postcode? Just give me the postcode first.
5,000.
5,000? Mm-hmm. That's Adelaide.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow.
Adelaide, according to our members, it is where they are happiest in retirement.
Because I always think of Adelaide as the place where the kids leave and the folks stay and the kids go back there for Christmas, for birthdays, for whatevers. But it is an ageing population in Adelaide, isn't it?
Well, look, it is, but really this was about where do you want to spend the rest of your life? And second...
Monte Carlo. No?
Second, just for your reference, was Melbourne. And we were surprised by that because we hear all about this sea change and tree change thing. And no. Here are our members telling us they're capital cities. So,
but aren't the folks in Victoria wanting to go up north because it's warmer?
No, that's
really
that's an old old
But
idea.
Joe Bjorky-Peterson has dropped the death duties, hasn't he? Oh, no, sorry.
Mate,
I've got to check out Your Life Choices more often.
Yeah. Look, interestingly, back in the day, a lot of Victorians retired in Queensland, and factually they returned to Victoria because they missed their own communities. They wanted to see their grandchildren.
Yeah.
They didn't actually like living in a high-rise, and they wanted their own hairdresser, doctor community. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So most people really actually want to age in place. So they want to grow older in their own community. Those who were looking at moving did want to go to Hervey Bay or Port Macquarie and so on. But when we said, hey, why Adelaide? We were told that it was like a big country town with the services and facilities of a larger city.
And as I say, I mentioned in podcast 1, I was in Adelaide, and the city is looking absolutely fantastic. And the medical facilities in that town are extraordinary. The beaches are stunning. I was up in Semaphore. A lot of retirement folks and homes around the Semaphore area, moving further north. It's a great town.
It's a beautiful town. It's small enough to be walkable. Certainly health services were mentioned by the people who were rating it.
Yeah.
Safe, good climate, less financial pressure. Hello, Sydney, Melbourne. So, and a few people said low crime rates. So I think, feeling secure and wanting to get out and about. So let's give a big shout out to Adelaide.
All right,
Woohoo!
we're all going to Adelaide. Excellent. Was there a number 2 or 3?
Number 2 was Melbourne. Number 3 was Brisbane.
Oh,
do you want to know where Sydney came?
Where?
Not in the top 10.
Oh, well, is that because of the expense? Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I'd say so too. Well, wherever you are right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to have your company. Kaye Fallick's the publisher of Your Life Choices website, and this is podcast number 2 of Mind Your Own Retirement. We'll be coming back after the break talking about, Miss Kaye?
We will be talking about whether watching too much TV causes Alzheimer's.
Oh, well, I'm in trouble. I work for Channel 7. I'm definitely... What was your name again? Oh, Kaye Fallick. We'll be back with that right after this. Folks, I'd like to talk to you about Your Life Choices Pension Checker. Now, this is an easy-to-use financial tool that allows you to calculate exactly how much you should be receiving in fortnightly pension payments and supplements. It's very well priced at just $29.95 per year. Visit pensionchecker.com.au and make today the day you take control of your income with Your Life Choices Pension Checker. Back with Mind Your Own Retirement, Kaye Fallick, the publisher of Your Life Choices website, and we're talking about...
Watching too much TV.
Well, I don't know. With these, back in the day, I can remember. Can you remember when you're probably too young. I can remember when we first got our first telly.
I remember that. My dad brought a TV.
You remember
home.
when I got my first TV?
No, you're too old. But I remember when our first one arrived. My dad was a spec builder. He'd make money or not make money. One day he made money.
Bless him.
And he walked in the house with a TV.
Admiral?
Oh,
Was it an Admiral?
I'm going
Was
to
it
say
a Pi?
Astor.
An Astor,
maybe.
yes. No, Astor's right.
I was 3 and my brother was 5.
Wow.
And he walked out the room and then he walked back in and my brother said to him, Dad, you'll never guess what we've got.
Isn't that great?
That's pretty cute, isn't
But
it?
I tell you what, Dad would have been a hero in that. Can you remember some of the shows you first watched?
Well, I can't remember when I was 3 what I was watching, but way back in the day, I remember F Troop.
The end of the Civil War was near when by accident...
Hogan's Heroes. Gilligan's Island.
I'm way back.
You're a bit earlier, mate.
Oh, yes, a bit before
Johnny
that.
O'Keefe.
John J. Okay, yeah. No, I'm talking
Mavis
about...
Bramston.
You're so young. Why are you here? You're here with an old man.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
No, well,
Ew.
see, I can remember '56 when TV first started. I was 5, but I'd been at Channel 7 now for 45 45 years, or 44 years now.
So when you were 5, they started you.
God bless you, Kaye. But are we watching too much telly now?
Well, here's the thing. In England, there's something called ELSA, which is the English Longitudinal Study of Ageing, which sounds grand. They looked at 3,662 adults aged 50 and over, and they found a magic number of hours per day that people were watching TV for, over which people could get decline in memory. Now, what is the number of hours per day that you can safely watch TV?
I would say 2.
No, it's more actually. Interestingly, any more than 3.5 hours a day and you'll be in trouble.
Well, now I have to ask for some qualification. Are we talking about watching game shows, which I love, by the way, having made most of my career from game shows? But if you're watching, like I love watching the History Channel.
Some of the people who were surveyed said, but what about the educational benefits
That's what I was
from
asking.
watching documentaries?
Quite right.
More than 3.5 hours, sorry, no. It will do damage.
Oh, I got a bit mad if you watch more than 3.5 hours, wouldn't you?
I don't have 3.5
No,
hours.
nor do I.
Hello, no.
Do you know what I've discovered?
What?
Reading.
Oh, that's been a constant in my life every day.
I know.
Yeah,
because that's what you do. But I've
yeah.
discovered books because I've got this little cubby house that's on the water, and I've got a telly that's not working too well. And I'm happy with that because I'm suddenly just rediscovering books.
Yeah, love reading.
Can that be a problem as far as Alzheimer's?
I hope not.
What was your name again, Kaye?
I hope not. So what this study, Dr. Fancourt is the expert, said cognitive preservation, that's retaining memory, comes from activities such as reading.
Ah.
So I think Dr. Fancourt is saying reducing TV watching and upping the reading, which is what you're saying, is the answer here.
It's very easy to be a couch potato at a certain age, isn't it?
Look, again...
And we talk about the kids watching too much telly, like, your eyes will get square.
Well, the surveys said...
The survey said... Sorry.
That over the last decade, everybody's concentrated on kids and said, look at the kids, they're watching too much TV.
Watching too much screen time, period.
And she said, but what about the other end of the lifespan?
Say it, go and say it.
Let's have a look at that.
Us oldies. Watching too much telly.
Yeah.
Get out of the couch, go for a walk. You know, think of Norm. Remember that?
Take Ebony down the park, John.
Go take your puppy down the park.
Yep.
And I guess also in the UK, dare I say, climate would have a lot to do with folks just being inside, indoors. Very easy to just not. Oh, you're looking a bit po-faced at me. What does that mean? I'm wrong.
I think that's an excuse.
I think it is too.
Yeah. Get in the kitchen, cook some pasta, do something.
There you go.
Yep.
Watch Jamie Oliver, then get in the kitchen and do it.
True.
Or Nigella.
My husband's in love with Nigella.
Oh, I see. Look, I think she's...
I actually have to switch her off because he's too excited by her on the TV.
He just likes watching her eating.
Licking her lips.
Yeah, but she goes down, and there's a chocolate cake at 3 o'clock in the morning. She goes,
I know.
You don't ever see her eat it, mate.
Well, yeah.
Do you?
I think she's a healthy girl with a healthy appetite. I love her too. Yeah.
All right. There you go. Yep. Okay, folks, there you go. Too much telly, no good. Reading, good. Get out of your chair. Go and enjoy life.
Summary.
Go for a walk.
Yeah.
All right. What are we going to come back with after the break?
Our travel editor, Leon, is going to talk to us about how to get the best cabin on your cruise.
Oh, hello. I'll be listening to that.
Brilliant.
Back after this. You're listening to Mind Your Own Retirement, and Kaye Fallick is here, the publisher of Your Life Choices website and e-news. Cruising is more popular than ever, as we know, with Australia being one of the world's biggest cruise hubs. Did you know that, Kaye?
Leon told me.
Oh, well, there you are, because he knows everything. But look, recent studies have shown that more than ever that over 55s, would rather go on a cruise than a land holiday. What happened to the humble caravan? I don't know. But Leon Della Bosca is here to explain which cabins are the ones to avoid and which ones will give you the best time at sea. And here's a man who should know all about cruising. Leon Della Bosca, a big hello to you.
Hi, John. How are you?
I'm very well. Now, we've not met before, but it's lovely to be able to talk to you because everyone loves travel.
Oh, everyone loves you too, John. So it's great to talk to you
This
too.
guy is great. This guy, Kaye, pay this man more money.
I'm out.
Pay this man more money. But we seriously want to know some things.
So here we go, Leon. We know that you've been writing about cruising for a few years, and I think it's really hard from the outside to figure out which cabin do you want, how much do you have to pay. So how important do you think it is for the happiness of your travel to get the perfect cabin?
Well, I think you'll be surprised at how important it is to get the right cabin, even though you may not intend to spend a lot of time in your cabin. If you think about it, you're already sort of a captive to the ship. So, if you had a hotel room and you weren't sort of too happy with it, you'd have the opportunity to sort of get out and explore the city and the surrounds. Unfortunately, you don't have that luxury on a ship. Well, not as much anyway. And there are a lot of people on board a ship, so your cabin can also be a sort of a refuge or an escape when you do need a little bit of time to yourself.
So many people want the outside cabin because every time you see the adverts in the paper, you see them on the lovely balcony. They're going, "Oh, isn't this lovely?" Do you need to have an outside balcony to enjoy a cruise? Is it just a personal thing? You can save a lot of money by going inside, can't you?
Well, you can. Personally, I think the balcony, if you can get a balcony suite, then you should go for it. I think having experienced the balcony suites myself, they're great for just a little bit of quiet time, bit of a book and maybe order some room service breakfast, and you can just sort of sit there and you have the sea to yourself. And a lot of cruise lines also offer free balcony upgrades if you sort of book early enough. So, look, I recommend getting a balcony suite. Having said that, there are great suites all over the ship. Some people might want a suite sort of more on the inside of the ship. You can still get one of those and get views of the promenade or those sort of entertainment areas and have just as much fun because, like I said before, you're not going to spend so much time in your cabin necessarily.
Just to cut to the chase in terms of people who are concerned about sea sickness,
yep.
Can you tell us how you could choose a cabin where you'll get the smoothest journey?
Yeah, for sure. Midship and as low as possible would be the general rule.
Okay.
They may not have great views, but there is less movement in those areas.
So it's more stable there.
Yeah, in the middle. Well, it is, but there's also another train of thought.
Can it get a bit noisy, near the engines?
Yes, near the engines. I'd probably be more steering clear of the nightclubs and kitchens and sporting courts. Yeah. Look for a cabin that's in between other levels, so maybe one that doesn't have the pool deck right above you or a nightclub above you or a restaurant just sort of below you. You'll sort of be sandwiched between a couple of other levels and that'll give you a quieter time on board.
I've got a question for you, Leon. With so many of the seas around these days, and everyone think of any ship called Of the Seas, I think of some huge vessel with multiple layers
an
of
apartment block.
An apartment block on the water, exactly. Is there a preference for the smaller ships, or do people still love going on the big beasts?
Well, it depends what you're after. Smaller ships can go into sort of more ports and probably into, let's say, they're a bit more intimate. That's if that's what you're into. The larger ships, smoother ride out on the ocean, probably a bit more to do on board, no doubt. But yeah, look, I think small ship cruising is catching on, and that's mainly because they can sort of go more places and visit more ports.
So that's when you're up around the fjords in Norway. Certainly in Alaska, the smaller ships get into the right places, and also when people are interested in wildlife viewing, it's hard to get close with an apartment block. Leon, is there one tip, just one standout tip you would give to our listening audience?
do everything. If you're a first-time cruiser and you're not quite sure about going on a long voyage, try one of the sampler cruises that a lot of cruise lines put on. They can put on like a 2 or 3 night cruise. Mainly, they call them cruises to nowhere sometimes. They'll just cruise offshore for a couple of days and you'll get to sort of see what it's like on board the ship and see if you can handle the sailing.
And we know Royal Caribbean and Princess do 2 or 3 nighters out of Sydney, so thank you for sharing your expertise. We look forward to talking with you again.
And Leon, where are you going next?
Next, hopefully, actually, I'm off to Fiji in late July and I'll be cruising in Fiji with Captain Cook Cruises, actually.
Well, there you are. There's a small ship as well.
Yes.
Can you tell us all about that next time we have a chat?
I'd love to.
Good on you, mate.
Great.
Have some carver for us.
I'd like to, yes.
Thank you, Leon. Leon Delabosca, who's the travel editor for Your Life Choices magazine. You're listening to Mind Your Own Retirement with me, John Deeksie, and Kaye Fallick, the publisher of Your Life Choices website. Now, Kaye, before we go, you're going to leave us with a nugget. And for those who didn't hear podcast 1, a nugget being a gem of information, a little trinket to leave us with.
Something you didn't know before. So with the onset of winter, in Melbourne, Paran Mission hosts winter breakfasts for people who can't afford to buy their breakfast, make their breakfast, or maybe people who've slept on the streets overnight. I have volunteered at the breakfasts in past years. My husband volunteers every year. He's a good soul. And I think it's just a good time to pause and think about something a lot of us take for granted is our breakfast and our morning coffee. How many people haven't had breakfast, and what can we do in our own communities to help them?
What a nice thought too. And as we continue to disintegrate within the communities where everybody knew their neighbours, everybody looked after one another, the kids could play on the street, everybody helped one another. It's so important to keep that communication and sense of community going, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. So if you've got some spare time, head down to the library and just have a look at what kind of volunteering is needed. And particularly in winter, are there people at risk? And what can we all do to help them? There's a good way to get out of the house and do something and get away from the telly. Exactly. But when you do come back, make sure that you know what network to listen to watch. Kaye Fallick, thank you so much indeed for being part of this podcast, of course. You're the driver, the publisher, and the big kahuna for Your Life Choices. And folks, if you would know somebody who would find some benefit from listening to this podcast and indeed being on the Your Life Choices website, do tell them. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Kaye. Bye, John.